Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Adam McKola TV. I am Adam. We are back for the United Daily Live. Of course, if you are watching live, we are here every single day at 12 o'clock UK time. And of course, you can catch up whenever you feel is necessary, like many of you do. Thank you to everybody that has been getting involved on Adam McKola TV in the last couple of weeks and the last month. I know it's been a strange one for everyone. We're trying to keep the content coming here on Adam McKola TV. I'm trying to keep it coming regularly and daily so that I don't absolutely crack up, and I've got some sort of schedule to keep to. So make sure you're heading back to Adam McKola TV every single day, because we've got twice daily content at the very least. And today you've got the United Daily Live, and later on you've got my Manchester United tier list for the current squad. So that's what's coming up for you guys today. So make sure you're keeping it locked in. United Daily Live today, we're looking at some Ed Woodward quotes, as he's given some quotes to the Manchester United fans forum in regards to potential activity in the next transfer window and how the market could look for every single team. PSG continue to be linked with a move for Diogo Dalot, and yesterday Paul Pogba as well, which was a strange one considering that meant a swap with a few players. Manchester United are reported to see Phil Jones as surplus to requirements, which is something that we've heard before. And that's a story from yesterday regarding Fred thinking Garner is the best young player at Manchester United. But again, if you want to have your opinion on that, we'll leave that open to you guys to have your thoughts on that one today, as he gave those quotes yesterday, I think. But there's not much news floating around, so as you can see, I couldn't even think of 3 new headlines for there. But we will be giving you Ed Woodward's quotes right about now. But first things first, let me dive into the comments. I can see Nimai, Gavin, Steve, P Savage, Cannonballer, Lee, Stoic Savage, Ayush, Akshmi in the comments, Tariq, Francie Brady, Eddie Peacock, Abraham, FIFA Star. There's loads of people in the comments. So thank you very much for joining us today here on Adam McKola TV. Thank you for getting involved. Sam, I can see your question. It's a long one. I'll read it in a bit. So if you want to put it back in when I finish this story in about 5 minutes time, I may read it then and answer it then. So apologies for now. That is a lot, and I can see a lot of names in that. But nevertheless, we look at Ed Woodward's comments on the transfer window to Manchester United fans forum. And we'll go to the BBC story, as it's usually the best place to go. Apart from BBC News, BBC Sport tends to be reasonably reliable. A Manchester United executive vice chairman, Ed Woodward, says speculation about transfers for hundreds of millions of pounds this summer is ignoring the realities that face the sport because of the coronavirus pandemic. United were linked with a £200 million move for Tottenham striker Harry Kane. And potentially spending a further 130 million on England, the Borussia Dortmund wide man Jadon Sancho. Ed Woodward said in his opening address to a United fans forum on Friday, nobody should be under any illusions about the scale of challenge facing everyone in football, and it may not be business as usual for any clubs, including ourselves, in the transfer market this summer. As ever, our priority is the success of the team, but we need visibility of the impact across the whole industry, including timings of the transfer window and the wider financial picture, before we can talk about a return to normality. Which, again, look, I can't stand Ed Woodward, and I think he would love nothing more than an excuse for a slow transfer window, or a transfer window by where he is given an excuse for not doing his work, for not getting the deals done. And there's a big excuse here for that, especially if you can say, well, we can't be spending that kind of money right now. But I also understand, because at the moment, we don't know when football restarts. We don't know if it restarts. So we don't know how much money could potentially be lost in terms of TV revenue. There's already been lost income in terms of, revenue, match day revenue. There's already been losses in that. Now, United's match day revenue isn't a very large percentage of what we're doing. And Ed Woodward also commented, because of the commercial success of the club, they are still in a decent financial shape, which you always have to consider. But I just feel like this is a reasonable thing to come out and say. One, because even if you are going to spend some money in the summer, it's probably not going to be as much as we thought. And secondly, you put anybody that you're going to on the back foot, because if they need to sell that player, they could let him go a little bit cheaper if they think, well, United have been warning against this. Remember what Arsenal did when they were like, we've only got 40 million, and then they ended up spending more than 40 million. It could be a scenario like that for Manchester United, but I think it is a little bit of realism when we don't know how much money they've lost or how much money is going to be coming in, or even when football is returning. For all we know, football might not return this year. Like, we don't know. Football might not return this year, and if it doesn't, there might not even be a transfer window. There might be a transfer window of 2 weeks. There might be a transfer window in the middle of the season because they decide to continue the season and the transfer window's open at the same time. We genuinely don't know how this one's going to boil down. So I totally understand his comments, as much as he would love to be making them right now. And he'd love an excuse in order to not make deals happen. But I totally understand it. It may not be business as usual for clubs, including ourselves, in the transfer market this summer, says Ed Woodward to a United fans forum. Now, what did I tell you guys on the Weekly United about 2-3 weeks ago? It was titled A Warning to Man United Fans. Now, I said then, look, we may not even get, 3-4, like we need a couple more signings, but we might not even get everything we need. We might get a Jadon Sancho and Igalo, and that's it. Now, I'd love it if we just got Jadon Sancho and Igalo. I'd love it just like Keegan, but these are realistic possibilities even before the news regarding the coronavirus. So, we spent in the last January transfer window and the last summer transfer window, we spent around 110 million net, when you consider the money we recouped for Lukaku and things like that. So you have to say that. But again, I think with United, we'll still sign Jadon Sancho, or we'll still be in and around for him, even if it is a little bit of a knockdown price. I think we may not go for a striker in favour of sticking with Odion Igalo, because we know he's a reasonably big priced striker and he's coming in, right age, fits in, etc. I can see that happening. I totally can. And whilst I understand these comments, and they have to be taken with a pinch of salt and a sense of realism in terms of the scenario we're in, we all know my man would love a excuse to not make any business happen. Sancho wants to come, so they won't refuse. Dominic, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Turtle Bleating says, sorry, I don't think Sancho is a possibility either. Interesting. Leith says, Sancho Igalo will do in this climate. We need a right winger and a DM. That's it, says Keegan. I think we need a striker as well, in the mould of Igalo. Not like a 19, 20-year-old striker, but I hear you. I think right wing and DM are two positions that we really need to sort out. Depending what happens at centre-back, if we see a couple go, we could invest there. But again, there's not a huge urgency to do that. I think right wing, there's a real urgency to do that. I think, potentially with Igalo, there's possibly any urgency to do that. There doesn't seem to be any urgency in terms of bringing in that holding midfielder, bringing in a midfielder who's stronger defensively than anything we've got. We've given Nemanja Matic a deal. And it looks like we're probably going to stick with him for the next season and maybe test Garner and Levitt. So, we probably weren't expecting much business anyway. But I just tell people to just relax a little bit. I said it a month ago. Said it a few weeks ago. Wouldn't be surprised if we only spend money on Jadon Sancho. I genuinely think that. And for those people that think, Diogo Dalot's just transfer rumours, Diogo Dalot's not going to be the one, etc. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. United will be in a position where they'll be looking at, he's a valuable asset. He's not going to play every single week. He's not going to play most weeks. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's not moving from that position. All right, you want to get a striker, sell Diogo Dalot, then you got loads of fullbacks. I can see that becoming a discussion with the board. That's how they run, and it's nuts because when you think about it, if it wasn't for these fucking Glazers, United could take 2 years out of football, come back still balling, like the amount of money they've sucked out of this club, we shouldn't even be affected by this kind of stuff. We shouldn't even be being affected by this stuff. We should be in the position of Manchester City, even without the sugar daddy owner, because we've look how much money we've spent on refinancing their debt, on them sucking out of the club, on paying off the debt, and doing all of those things. Imagine in this kind of scenario, how how much those funds can do for you, or how you know how much less headache they give you by being there. These motherfuckers, man. How you doing, Nimai? I seen one of your comments earlier. Sorry to hear about your loss, mate. I hope things are all well with you and the family. Someone else just mentioned. I think Axel should be given a genuine chance. I agree with that. Massive fan of Axel. He was about to get his chance this year and he got injured, so you know it wasn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault that he didn't get a chance. But I hear you. You're wishing if you think we'll spend 100 million on Sancho. Woodward is telling us that, says Bernie. So Bernie's not even considering the possibility that we sign Jadon Sancho in this transfer window. I tend to think, you know, because of the fact that Dortmund will want to spend, because of the fact that German clubs will be, even though football will return in Germany sooner, German clubs will be more affected by this than Manchester United. I can see them still selling Jadon Sancho. And even if they were to keep him, he'd probably want to sign a new deal. They're not going to offer him a new deal. I think it's within their interest to sell him. It's just about getting the best price for him. The striker we need is Igalo, says, 22. Ryan says release Jones. Manny says we can't have another season with Lingard on the right wing. It wasn't even Lingard, was it? It was Danny James a lot of the time. And then when Rashford got injured, Danny James went to the left and it was either Mata or whoever on... Yeah, it just wasn't good enough, was it? Raise funds easily by selling Delo and promoting Laird, says 22, which is something we've discussed on Adam McKola TV before. The Glazers are shit, which is probably my favourite comment of all, says Mohit. Newcastle got 230 billion. Can they give us 10 for Jones, please? Who should have gotten the Saudi owners? Nah, not for me. Look, if you want to disregard whatever they've done or whatever they do, that's fine by me. But I can't do that, and it wouldn't sit right with me. I had Newcastle fans criticising me the other day because I said that I wouldn't be in favour of their owners taking over, and they're like, "You're just jealous." I was like, do your fucking research. I've been saying it on this channel for a long, long time. If they came in, I'd be in a funny position where I'd have been saying, "Ah, fuck these guys. I don't want them to own Manchester United," and then they come in and own Man United. I'd be in a real between a rock and a hard place. I'd be like how it was with the Glazers, except you know it's a bit different this one. Someone said I saw that they won't be sold to him. I didn't know about that. I've not seen that. It wouldn't surprise me if it fell through with the way things go for Newcastle. Bartholomew says I don't see us signing Sancho for 100 million plus. Real and Barca stated there'll be no big signings for them either. Tough times. Nobody wants to look like twats with so many people struggling. And I do think that's a part of why maybe someone hasn't, we haven't announced maybe Angel Gomez's new deal or Paul Pogba if he has signed. I'm not saying that he has, but we wouldn't announce it yet because of the weird situation that we're in. Is it about time the Glazers and Kroenkes sell Arsenal and Man United? I wouldn't want Jeff Bezos at Man United, but Sam, it's a pipe dream for us to even think that. It's a pipe dream for us to think that. You've got to think of, if you are the Glazer family, you now have an asset that you pretty much have got for free because you've taken out bank loans and the club's paid off the debt for you. Very little of your own personal money's gone into it. You've basically swindled this club now. You've got us paying off your debt. You've got the club for free. And now you've got an asset that's worth £3 to £4 billion with debt which they would say is manageable. And it is manageable when you consider the value of the club. It is, regardless of how much we hate it and how much we know we shouldn't have it. It is. And I just think they're going to be in a position where they're very unlikely to sell. It's probably why the Saudi prince has gone to Newcastle. They're in a position where they can play hardball with anyone. You've got to give them 3 to 4 billion to get that club off their hands. And that's why, like, when we consider, like, oh, can the fans take? It's impossible to do. How can you raise that sort of money? How? It's mad. You need someone like the Saudis, but then it's like the Glazers who are, you know, financially raping Manchester United, and then you got the Saudis who are, you know, just morally bankrupt in all sorts of different ways. That's not to say I get criticised when I say this because people say, oh, but what about the UK and the US government? Bruv, check my Twitter, check my opinions. Like, I'm consistent in my opinions, and I'm consistent on the Saudis as well. I wouldn't want them at Manchester United. Regardless, like, I've seen us win 30, well, I can't remember the first one, but I've seen us win like 12, 13 league titles, 2 European Cups, FA Cups, League Cups, Club World Cups, without us needing a sugar daddy. Why? We don't need it. We just need our club to be our club, our money to be our money. Yes, Aaron, how you been doing? Hope you've had a good week at work, mate. Sorry about the language, am I? Made me laugh at Woodward and said they delayed the season ticket. Wait. Loads of comments are coming in and now I've lost that one. Sorry, I missed half of that comment. It's fucked how the players are taking pay cuts, but the owners are billionaires, says Hector. Yeah, and I thought what Roy Keane said, I don't know if he said it yesterday, but I seen the video yesterday of him speaking to Sky Sports, or on Sky Sports rather, and he was asked about players taking pay cuts, and he did point out that I'm only talking about the clubs that have these mega rich billionaire owners. He wasn't talking about the smaller clubs and the clubs lower down the table where their situations are different. But he was saying, if I was one of these players that played for any of these bigger clubs, I ain't taking a pay cut. Are you fucking stupid? That pay cut's benefiting the owners, the billionaires, the Glazers, those kind of people, the owners of City, the Kroenkes, all these guys are the guys that are going to benefit from these pay cuts. Not the clubs, not the staff that are getting furloughed, not the staff that are getting fucking, you know, sacked or whatever. Those ones ain't the ones that are getting the benefit of those wage cuts. That's why it was more beneficial. That's why it was more beneficial for them. One of the questions absolutely thrown my head, you know. Baby Yoda's moaning because someone in the comments has a different opinion to him. Meanwhile, in the comments, he's also talking about people crying about opinions. Maybe if you had as big of a, you know, spine as you suggested them guys have, you would be okay in the comments, or you could just turn the comments off and watch the video. I don't know, you know what I mean? It's not that deep, mate. It's not that deep. It's not that deep at all. But yeah, they shouldn't be taken like that. That's why I get Manchester United players coming together, or the football players coming together and saying, actually, let's not take these deductions where possible. Let's make direct donations to ourselves so they know that those direct donations are going to have some impact. Giving it to the Glazers and hoping they do it, fuck them lot. Baby Yoda, man, says the joking. Alright, we'll let you off, yeah? Come on. Sensibleness in the comments. Do you think Woodward is being smart with these statements, says Kazim? I think he's being realistic. 1. 2, possibly he's being shrewd in the sense that if people think we don't have the money, then, you know, or we're not as, you know, if Dortmund think, oh shit, we were hoping United would come for Sancho, and now they're talking about this. Maybe they won't pay 120 million now. Maybe we'll have to get them at 100. You know what I mean? So then the clubs that wanted to sell players and were hoping to, maybe Shanghai Shenhua, don't start demanding such mad things like that. Someone asked me what's the difference between the Glazers and the Saudis. Look, I don't want to get political here. And I know the Glazers support, you know, Trump and things like that. And I think they also supported Hillary. I think what you find is in America, a lot of businesses will make donations to both parties in the hope that when they get elected, they will look after us in terms of tax breaks and things like that and beneficial and, you know, favourable treatment. I couldn't give a fuck about Trump or Hillary Clinton or America anyway. It's not my issue. But anyway, the Glazers there. Why would I rather the Glazers, who are financially raping Manchester United, to the Saudis? Well, I mean, the Glazers aren't killing people in their own country. The Glazers aren't killing journalists. The Glazers aren't massive homophobes. The Glazers aren't, you know, just do your research a little bit into them. They don't order murders and all that. Like Bartholomew's in the comments, kind of backing it up. Look, the Glazers are morally bankrupt in terms of and the way the way they're running Manchester United. They're financial leeches. But you know what I mean. I wouldn't like the US government running United either. I wouldn't like the UK government running us either. I wouldn't like the Israeli government running us either because they're all fucked up. But I don't want the Saudi government. This ain't a Adam's against people from that part of the world, or that ain't it. That ain't it. And I also realised that me coming out and saying that was dangerous. If they were to actually come in charge, I wouldn't have been able to step in front into United's ground. If they take over, these videos surface, I'm fucked, mate. Adam, disinfectant shots tonight. It is Saturday, ain't it? We'll all get on the disinfectant, guys. I hate that. So don't be drinking disinfectant. Fucking bellends. Vishal's late. Jacob's late. Everyone's late today. Tut, tut, tut. Tut, tut. How dare you be late? Well, Woodward's quote is that it may not be business as usual for clubs, including Manchester United, in the next transfer market. And, you know, he's warning Manchester United fans that actually maybe there may not be a whole host of business. I've already made that warning on this channel, saying that we'll probably only sign 1 or 2 players, if that. I can't expect to see us buy loads of players, loads of talent. So that's where we are on that one with him. We didn't really look at the PSG Pogba stuff or the PSG Delot stuff again today. United were linked, PSG were linked to the move for Paul Pogba. You read the story and then you see, in a swap for Di Maria and Draxler. Are you taking the piss? Di Maria don't want to come back to Manchester United. That's the last thing he would rather chop off both arms and both legs than ever step foot back in Old Trafford in a Man United shirt ever again. That fella doesn't want to be anywhere near Old Trafford. Yet, these fucking newspapers are still out here linking him with a move back to Old Trafford. This is what I mean, guys. This is why I start to think. This is why I'm starting to think then that, like, Pogba's staying. Because these journals now are getting desperate, like Real Madrid. Can they afford him? Do they want him? Is it going to be possible? Juve, do they want him? Is it possible? Don't look like it. PSG, let's bring them in. But yeah, have Di Maria. Fuck off, that's not happening. Like, it doesn't seem likely that this is going to happen. It still could. But I'd be very surprised if it did. If Pogba left Manchester United to go in this next transfer window. And that's why now you see the newspapers getting desperate. United don't want to trigger his extension. United want to sell him. These are all now just stories because they can no longer push the stories in regards to the transfer happening. So, yeah, that's what D said. D in Steve just reminded me of that comment. Straight up D on Straight Up MUFC on Friday said, D, if Di Maria comes back, I'm straight up bottling him. So if you want to see a very good, a very interesting Straight Up MUFC, then as soon as we're done here, head over to that video. It was up last night, so it's just the last video that we watched. But Dean threatening to bottle Di Maria if he comes back. But this is where they're going now. This is where they're going now. Cannonballer says United keeping journalists in a job. Dear Adam, The only way to get rid of the Glazers is stop buying merchandise. I've stopped. I haven't. These are old shirts and that. Stop attending matches. I've already paid for my season ticket. Stop going into the restaurant. Very rarely do. Yeah, boycott matches and rant outside. Ranting outside the stadium is doing nothing for nobody. It needs to be organised, and it's very difficult to do when you've got 75,000 people going to a ground with so many different opinions on things. It's very difficult to do. Do you think Rooney will retire at United? Mate, he's already left. You did realise that, right? Or do you mean as a manager, as a coach or something? They must be making a little something from these. Yeah, they get the clicks and that. Like, when I've got an ad blocker on, and when I go on them websites, I don't use my ad blocker on YouTube because I know, the ad revenue is important to YouTubers, especially the smaller YouTubers. So I'll leave it on there, but I don't have it on news websites and things like that. So when I go on them, and like you go on some websites and it says pay to be able to access this website without an ad blocker, are you taking the piss? All I have to do is X this off and I carry on onto the page, you bellend. Glazers aren't going anywhere. We've just got to grin and bear it, says Blur, and I tend to agree with that. Should we now forget Sancho this summer, says Vishal. I'm still confident that we will get Jadon Sancho in this summer, but I'm also very confident that that will probably be our only major signing. I'm not naive enough to think we're going to be making a whole host of summer signings. I didn't think that before the coronavirus, and I don't think that now. Guys, at the moment we've got 256 viewers, just over that now, it's growing. We've got 51 likes. Come on, surely you can do better than that. Get hitting that like button, get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing, get joining as well if you can for that exclusive content, for the additional extras, emojis and all that kind of stuff. You get to join the Discord forum where we're having a good little chinwag over there. You get to contribute questions and those kind of things, topics and player interview questions and all that to videos. So if you want to join, feel free to click that join button like so many people have. If you see them with a little AMTV logo by their name, they are members. And if you want to find out if it's worth it, you can even ask them in the comments and see what they say. I haven't told them what to say or anything like that. So yeah, if you want to find out more, either ask some of those friendly members in the comments or feel free to click join and get on it. A few of you wanted these tees as well. And I've put them on the merch shop on the channel as well. There's a home one, which is red, black and white, and there's an away one, which is green and gold. Again, if you fancy it, check it out. I only put it there because a few of you wanted them, and a few of you have already ordered them, so I might take them down now if nobody else is interested. So yeah, they'll probably go down in about a week because, I think the people that wanted them probably got them. Anyway. Any more stories? Any more questions? What are you lot saying? I will make it another channel. You get it. Yes, mate. Baby Yoda's cheered up in the comments. What was the best United vs Liverpool game that you went to live? I've been to a fair few, I remember one where Sammy Herpier got sent off after a couple of minutes and United won 4-0. I enjoyed that one. The Anthony Marshall one's a classic though. It's a classic, And I know that one's closer in memory, and that's probably why it's coming out to me. But the Anthony Marshall one, and also the FA Cup game in '99, I was there for that. I had a lot of bad memories against Liverpool as a fan, like Danny Murphy scoring against United every fucking season and helping them win 1-0. But that one in '99, the FA Cup one, Solskjaer scoring late on after Owen, I think, scored after 3 minutes. And then I think York and Solskjaer scored towards the end. It was an amazing game that. And that was the one that kind of set us going on that comeback kind of trail. We kept doing that comeback thing then. If you're including Aston Villa games, Anfield games, Aston Villa games. If you're including Anfield games, like Cannonballer says, you've obviously got Wanfield. You've got the Berber hat-tricks as Det G. I was there for that as well. At Anfield, you got Diego's Forlands, 2 goals. John O'Shea's winner. Those were good times. Those were good times, weren't they? Aaron, Danny Murphy. I proper hate that twat. If we were proper fans, we'd buy the 20% off the stock exchange shares so we could have a say. You don't get. They're not controlling shares, mate. They're not controlling shares. You can do very little with those shares in terms of having a controlling stake in a club. They are like you can probably benefit from them financially and stuff, but you'd have a little say in what happens at the club. Will United ever challenge for the league or win the league title? I think we will. When that is, I'm not sure. I believe Ollie's got us on the right path to building that team that can challenge for the league title again. I still have questions marks over whether Ollie's the man to do it, but he's earned the time, and I believe he's built in the team that could potentially move on to challenging for the league title. So I think he deserves more time. Rashford double, that was a good one as well. Jeremy was there for that one. I can't wait to be back at Old Trafford. The Zlatan equaliser, good times, says Mikey. Yeah, they were good times, man, and I can't wait to be back at it all. How you doing, Mo Talks? You doing well? Keith, you doing good? Hopefully Bruno Fernandes can push Marshall and get 20 plus goals every season. Do you think signing Sancho and Igalo is a good transfer window, says Jacob? I think it will be. And I think that's all we're going to sign in this transfer window is Jadon Sancho and Odion Igalo. And on that bombshell, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and joining to you guys that have joined. Make sure you're keeping it locked. Make sure you're keeping it Adam McKola TV. And for now, I've been Adam McKola. You lot have been legends. We're out of here.